Hello, friends.
Hi.
Rebecca and I, we've been on what we call our rewilding journey for many years now. Before we called it a rewilding journey, it was kind of our spiritual quest, but it's always embodied everything. That's why rewilding kind of works best for us, because it's embodied physical fitness,
Yeah.
emotional health, wisdom explorations, nature connection.
Anything we can do or learn to become our best, quote, our best selves.
Yeah. And over those years, I feel like if I could look at the different elements that we've played with, let's just take, fitness, really
Right.
getting in good shape.
Exercise.
Huge benefits. Makes you feel
play,
great.
Movement.
It's awesome on so many levels.
Totally.
Shifting your diet. Oh, again, incredible on so many levels.
Very big results.
Life-changing. But the thing that to me has stood way above everything else has been,
Are you ready for it? I'm ready for it.
I gotta think of a good joke. It's been mental training. And I'm talking about emotional resilience, I'm talking about meditation, a lot of the things that we cover on this channel. In the last, I want to say 2-3 months, I took a plunge going way deeper into the stuff than I've ever gone before. And I'm so kind of excited about it that I want to share it with everybody and say that I think this is it's the key. Because in changing our mentality, that changes everything else.
So this is like the diet for our mind.
I mean, this maybe would be our most unpopular video because we're going to be suggesting some stuff that's pretty taboo or
Okay,
not just
turn it
taboo.
off right now.
Yeah.
Just
But this is okay, so what's been happening for me is...
Yeah. So I've noticed a big change in you, very much like you say, correlating with the last 2-3 months as you go ever deeper into exploring and using yourself as a guinea pig.
So morning meditation, gratitude, glow, if you know that one that we did a video on, loving kindness meditation, spending, I don't even know how much time, because I'll sort of wake up and use that time of nectar period when I'm half awake, half asleep, and do a lot of meditation in the morning, and then trying to stay in that state of meditation throughout the day. And I feel so peaceful, so loving, so connected, so much more clear and aware. Now, on the flip side, the other day, I was hearing some bad news about the world. And that bad news invokes some anxiety. And I remember this very well from my past, how this pattern works.
Pretty normal though.
Yeah, I mean, in our culture, very, very normal.
Right.
And so I heard this bad news. It started getting me concerned, worried about the future. My mind started to go down those trails. Probably know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Starts telling stories. And within an hour or two, I was back in a regression, kind of a personal hell
Oh no.
that I remember from long ago when I had a lot more anxiousness and anxiety in my life. Feeling like, what do we do? Everything seems wrong. These colored glasses had gone on that colored everything.
So, and am I right in saying, and maybe this is true for many of you out there too, but that's kind of a regular state that you're in a whole lot. In fact, it might even be sort of the norm.
In a lot of ways it is. And it is, I'm so convinced at this point that so much of what our culture delivers and calls news, right? And it's TV programs and and video games and all these movies, all these things that we tend to cherish and think, no, I could never live without that entertainment.
Right.
But it's junk food for our brains. And I could feel it. As we explore our minds more and more, we get more and more aware of when we're in a good place or a bad place.
Sure.
We're not in autopilot anymore. And so I could feel very distinctly the difference just in taking this little bit of media and how it impacted my mind. And I think I have a pretty good meditative base, but still, it impacted me pretty strongly. So if all of us are under a regular diet of this mind junk food, what is that doing to us?
Wow. Yeah. Probably a lot of negative health benefits. Negative health benefits. That doesn't work together. We need a new word. Anyway.
Negative health benefits?
Because it's not benefiting anyone. But I imagine that it's probably not very good for us, and it probably leads to a thickening of that layer of low-grade stress that we have. Just another layer and another layer and another layer as we compress more and more and more of that chronic stress. And we all know chronic stress is really not good.
My friends, I think this is the big problem in a way, is that we don't even know we're imbibing mind junk food. We're being fed it all the time. It's delivering that chronic low-grade stress that's eroding not just our health, but our daily experience. Because I treated you differently that day and the family differently that day. I wasn't my loving, compassionate self in the same way because I'd imbibed that junk food. And it's dietarily, it's the same. Our girls went to their first Halloween event in our little town, and there was a Reese's peanut butter cup. And I tried it, and I ate the whole Reese's peanut butter
Right,
cup.
because once upon a time
that was
were
my
your favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Years and years and years ago.
Felt like crap.
Yeah.
Felt like crap from one. And I'm pretty convinced I always felt like crap. I just didn't know because I was so used to feeling like crap. And it's the same with the mentality. If I remember the way my mind was before, it always felt like crap. It always was kind of
Worried,
push button,
anxious,
worried.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
If we can come into clarity, oh my gosh, this not only would change our lives, but would change the whole world.
Right.
The more of us that can stop eating this mind junk food.
Mind junk food. But I like it, and it works really well. So what are examples of mind junk food? And I'm kind of curious about this whole, what's taboo here? What should we not be doing? So tell me what the mind junk food is and tell me what I should be doing about it.
Well, by taboo, I meant that, we cannot suggest that it is not good to watch movies. It's just so normal in our culture that we watch movies. But as our mind gets into a clearer place and clearer, and then we watch a movie, it's stunning how it impacts our minds.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest contender, or the biggest offender here, I think, is what is called news these days. And I've started this practice lately of listening to some positive news. There's a couple positive news channels. Daily Good, I think, is one. Good News Network. And the effect of reading positive news is so different. My attitude is different. My thoughts are different. And the negative stuff, as we've often said, it's out there. We know it's out there. But how much of that diet are we going to imbibe, knowing what it does for us, knowing that we can't do anything about most of it, unless you're going to be active in something?
So that's what I was going to say, is what about the whole, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention bumper stickers, and we need to tell more people about this so more people have an awareness. And what about all of that side of the news?
So awareness is good. But
Okay.
you use a perfect example of, we used to be in tribes, okay? And when bad news would, come into the tribe, oh my gosh.
We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, the herd is moving off.
Right.
we don't just sit there and go, oh gosh, the herd's moving off. What are we going to do? We get up and we follow the herd.
Right. I was saying that in the olden days, can't wait until we're olden days. That's going to be so hilarious. That when news came in, quote, bad news or any kind of news, it was usually something that was going to be acted upon, right? As you said, okay, the herd's moving off, we've got to go. Or the herd is stampeding and we better move our butts because we're going to not be happy if we don't go quick. Or positive news, oh, yay, this happened. Hey, tonight let's prepare a celebration. So when news came to us, it was always of a very actionable nature, usually.
So
nowadays, you get so much news, and it's news you can't do anything about. Yet I feel like that little key that's in us that is meant to go, oh, we gotta go. Oh, I gotta do something about this, is still there. So we hear all this news, and it's like, oh, I gotta do something about it. Well, hi. Did you bring some news for us?
We're not designed for being able to intake massive amounts of negative news and just sit there and absorb it.
Right.
We're meant to bring in news and then to act upon it.
Respond, right?
So that's what we need to limit ourselves to, I think, is bringing in some news, being aware, deciding what you're going to act on it, be active.
Sure.
But do not sit there and just take in more and more negativity unless you are a completely realized Zen master.
If you are, contact us.
You cannot absorb it. None of us can absorb that without really damaging ourselves.
Right. And we're meant to, I feel like we're meant to absorb news within that tribe too, within a community that supports. So if we receive bad news of some kind, that there are people there that are sharing in that with us, whether it's grief or it's shock or it's excitement, it is divided, right?
Yeah, which should not be confused with joining online groups and such that are just going to talk about stuff and hash it over and build on the fear and negativity.
Right, because of course, if it's true that our minds can't tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat, then every time we're talking about it, we're simply doing the same loop for our poor body. That's like, wah, right? I have a question here, which is, well, two questions. First of all, so what do I do as a person in the world, or maybe some of you watching this say, well, what am I supposed to be doing? Are you telling me I shouldn't watch news? I shouldn't watch movies? I mean, what is this? No song and dance? Please don't laugh.
Isn't that what it sounds like?
And you will button up your shirt to the very top button. Oh, I mean, no offense if you button your shirt all the way up. I don't mean it like that. But I'm just saying, this doesn't sound like it necessarily is going to be any fun. What do I do? How do I do this? It's on a practical level so I actually can make it work, so I can start to cultivate more awareness and more happiness.
You know, I think it's coming to realize that our culture is going to dish out this entertainment to us. Mm-hmm. And that entertainment, like junk food, it's designed to hook us. We think we're enjoying it, but like Garrett, our forest monk that went home, he had been on video games all the time. He went home, he played video games for a while.
Well, he had a break here though. 4 months, no video games.
Then he went home, tried them for a while, and then deleted all of his games and said, you know what, I can see these now for what they are.
Right.
They aren't actually that fun. I just was fooled into thinking.
Well, and we know for sure because of people that we have spoken with that video game companies have psychologists working for them who are figuring out
making this addictive.
How can we get this so that we hook them, right?
And the news channels, I mean, it's all the same. This stuff is meant to hook us. So what we think we're enjoying is really probably more about an addiction. And what's waiting on the other side of that addiction is all this incredible stuff. Connecting with people on a real basis is infinitely more fun and exciting than sitting down and taking in this substance that's meant to addict us.
Right.
Eating a good meal that you cooked and actually tasting it. Going for an adventure in the woods, in the city, on the beach.
So if I wanted to do something about something I hear, maybe it would be useful that I pick one thing that is really kind of affecting me and take positive action towards that. Like that could at least satiate that part of me that's like, but if I don't listen to it, how can I do anything about it? We can say, okay, I am going to choose to, pick something in my community that might be local, could be international, but say I'm going to focus on this one thing right now, could change later. That's where I'm going to put my energy. So when I feel as though I need to make change or help others or the world, to choose that one thing.
Yeah, I think with news, with the world news type of thing, if we really think we're not addicted, let's do, and we still want to pay attention to it, let's take one day a week. That's our news day. And instead of watching the canned stuff on TV, go online to a trusted news source. It's, the TV is going to be, it's basically the same news all the time.
Right.
And go there and choose your source and then read a couple things and set yourself like a half hour.
I like that.
It's going to be your news time. You're going to get anything that's important. If there's something giant happening, you're going to find out about it. So you're being aware. But now you've moderated it. You're taking in just a certain amount, enough that you can counteract with positive news, with meditation, with...
Okay, so for all of us here that are trying to gain something from what you've been learning, limiting news, negative news or the real news, to a half an hour a week or whatever it is that you choose. You say, okay, Saturday night I sit down, I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'm going to read some stuff.
So now we're only buttoned up to like maybe one. Okay.
So, but going to positive news.
Take in some of that. Try it for a week and see how it feels. Does it change your mindset?
What else?
I'm always pushing that gratitude practice, glow, loving. We haven't done one on a loving kindness meditation. But
those are so
any
nice.
kind of mental visualization where you're sending out positiveness to people.
Yes.
Especially people that are tough to send it to.
Right.
It starts to recondition our mind in really positive ways. And it's real live social connection. That is magical. Calling somebody up and going for a walk with them, connecting with your friends, not through texting, I'm not talking about, or Facebook or whatever, but connecting with people.
Getting together, having real experiences, real shared experiences.
If you have access to a campfire, doing a campfire, going to a little cafe or coffee shop with some friends.
Where do strangers fit into this? I know, see, when I go out with you, I see you have this beautiful smile, and you're almost always wearing it, and people notice that, and you go up to people all the time and say, hey, could I help you carry your groceries to the car, or could I put your cart away, or, these are examples that we use because they're ones that happen on a regular basis. And I notice the other people and their smiles, and often we'll get into conversations and discover things about people that we never knew. Like, oh, you're my neighbor and you live down the street and you have about 250 acres and come hike it sometime. I was like, whoa, oh my gosh. All from just a simple interaction. Is there value in talking to people that you don't know?
I think that's why we bring forest monks out of the woods often into the towns to interact with strangers, because talking to people, it starts to break down the barriers, and we see we're all fellow human beings, and people have so much to share. I just cannot say it enough. The mental junk food, it is designed to get us to sit in a little room and just intake it. That's how it would be happiest. If you were alone in a small dark cubicle watching the screen.
Can we just have glasses that are always on?
There you go. We don't even need the screen. So it's pushing us apart. If we can come together, if we can limit the intake of that, start bringing some really good, healthy mind diet into our minds, and then connecting with each other.
Oh, it sounds really nice. It can sound a little scary, though, if you're not used to that kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure a lot of you can relate if you grew up on texting. It's so much easier to text somebody. A lot of us can be fearful, actually, to call somebody or to go and connect with somebody. We can just text. But that is doing damage to us. It's not doing us a favor. We think it's a tool that we're getting to use and it's cool, but it's using us.
It does seem like that.
It's
starting
using us
to
in
happen.
a big way.
Yeah. It seems like almost I want to say everything in moderation, including moderation. And what I mean by that is that if you are going to watch the news, we were talking about earlier, sit down one time a week, set your time limit, do that. If you are going to watch a movie, be aware you're watching the movie. How about you watch the next movie you watch, set your alarm to stop 3 different times and take a 10-minute break each time. It's like, what? That ruins the movie. But you're aware, hey, look at how much I'm drawn into this. Look at how much it affects my emotions, right? Just as an experiment. And I don't feel like you're necessarily saying never do these things again, but to stop and notice, how do they make me feel? And I'm going to come back to that peanut butter cup that you ate, right? I feel like you were thinking, okay, hey, these were so good. I'm going to have one, right? We don't ever buy these kinds of things, so here's one right now. It's the same as the piece of kind of mind junk news that you got. What happens when you do take something in? Say you want to clean it up. Say you've done a good job, and all of a sudden you're at work and a coworker goes, "Did you hear blah 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 blah?" And before you can go, "La la la la, I don't want to hear," they've told you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." What happens when that comes into your life? Because we need to build in some resiliency, right? We can't pad our walls and make it everything perfectly, pink ribbon safe.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is not about anti-technology.
Okay.
It is not about not taking any of this in. It's about using technology to benefit us rather than letting the technology dominate who we are and shape us unconsciously. Right. So this should be a tool that we use. A wrench is easy. It's a tool that we use. It doesn't use us somehow, but we've invented
Power
this
tools, I kind of sometimes feel like they're using me. Anyway.
The technology is using us.
Right.
And when we take stuff in, all we have to do is notice. How did that make me feel? That's how people change their diets out here. Eat this. See how you feel.
Right.
Go a couple months on a healthy diet. We take them into the fast food restaurant. How does that feel when you eat it? So it's not about not having those things, but becoming aware, and then we naturally will make decisions that result in a more positive mindset.
And what about that piece of news that you do receive? I mean, can you just go back to staying the course and say, okay, I've heard this news, but you know what? I feel like I need to do something. I'm going to take that one cause, and I'm going to, tonight after work, I'm going to stop by and volunteer at the name, whatever it is. Keep watching the happy news. Because I know sometimes, as you said before, something can come in that I wasn't expecting. We don't have perfect control of our environments. Thankfully, that's how we grow. How then can I dance with that?
And again, it's a good thing when something comes into you, right? That's a challenge for you. That's what we do out here.
Right.
It's not about avoiding those challenges, but it's being aware of it. So all we have to do is say, hey, this came in, it scared the crap out of me.
Right.
And here's how I felt for this duration of time.
Right.
And then we're naturally going to make changes out of that awareness.
I understand what you're saying. The awareness gives us the ability then to pause for a moment. It's like the pause button before we then act.
And I guess the final thing here is remembering that there's 2 levels to this. And the one is our intake. So the media and such, the junk food that we're intaking. But the foundation of it is the foundation. There's a meditative practice.
Right.
Developing a mind that's stable and resilient. And then it can intake some junk food without being affected too badly.
I get it, yeah.
Because, when I was negatively impacted like that, you could tell, but probably nobody else in the world.
Sure.
Because the change was rather subtle.
Right.
I've spent a lot of time developing a foundation.
Right.
If I don't have that foundation, that news is going to come in.
Right.
Good news, yeah.
Yay.
Bad news,
Right.
And I'm
And we just go
completely at the
up and
mercy.
down and up and down and up and down.
Yes, completely at the
Awesome.
mercy.
So build a foundation with meditation, with gratitude practice, with positive action, right? Build
Social
that
connection.
foundation, social connection, in person, and then be aware of what your mental diet is.
What you're going to eat
Wow.
to your brain.
Awesome. I'm so glad you shared.
Thanks. This was kind of like an interview.
I wanted to be really
I was
hard
on
on
the
you.
spot. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Please share with us your thoughts on this, what you notice, how you feel when you take in the real news, when you don't, what some of your practices are. Oh, I mean, we would love to hear, and it's so helpful to all the other people who are reading through them.
Love to you all.